So now I'm showing you the next product that we're releasing, and it's the X10.
Right.
As you can see, the X10 is a controller by itself. So it looks almost like a Control 4.
Right.
You know, you got 2 drive ports, you got 4 sense ports, universal sense ports, and you got 2 BNC probes. Now this is where the kind of difference kind of start.
Okay.
The X10 also comes with 4 stepper motors. Now our full steppers come more motors, and they can go as low as 0.1 milliliters per minute,
Okay.
and as high as 100 milliliters per minute.
Okay.
All right. In addition to that, we have a pH probe, ORP probe, and we have now a salinity probe. All right. So people have been asking us forever, when is Hydro's coming out with a salinity probe? When is kind of salinity? The problem has been we don't want to come up with something that we know does not work, or that works 50% of the time, because for every person that tells you that they have a salinity probe that works perfectly well, you got 1 or 2 people that say it doesn't work.
Right.
So we were trying to crack it. How can we bring salinity into the Hydros, but in a way that we don't have to do that much support? Because that's what it comes down to.
Right.
We want to have people be happy with it and minimize our supports.
Yeah.
So while we were working on the X10, we came up with the idea. We have 4 dosing pumps.
Right.
So we could use the X10 to test salinity. And we started working with this vessel called the IV. And I'll go into detail on it a little bit later.
Okay.
But what we did is like, wait a minute, you have this vessel that has a beaker. It has water that is being pulled from the sump into this beaker that is completely isolated. There are no heaters, there are no pump returns, there's nothing here creating that noise that often affects the conductivity probes. So that's why the IV is called isolated vessel. So what we've done is we're giving you the option to have salinity, and yes, you can put it inside the sump.
Right.
But if you decide to get the IV, which is an accessory, it facilitates the action of putting the conductivity probe. And then take a look at this right here. You can see?
Yep.
There's a conductivity probe and there's a pH probe there. So what we've done is it allows you to put that conductivity probe into an isolated device.
Right.
Then you can create a schedule that tells you, that tells the Hydros, every 2 hours, pull water from the sump, bring it into this isolated device,
Right.
stir the waters so the bubbles, everything is gone.
Yeah.
Stop the magnet so there's no electric interference, and then take the reading. So now you have a clean reading. Yeah, and it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
You know, and it's for the technical people.
Yeah.
Okay, so every conductivity probe is not equal. So it's like anything in life. You use equipment that was designed for a particular environment.
Okay.
So conductivity probes are designed in different environments. You have conductivity probes that test fresh water. You have conductivity probes that test salt water, and then they also test sewage.
Right.
Yeah. So depending on the environment, you have to buy the correct probe. They call it a K factor. And what it is conductivity probe measures by having 2 plates.
Right.
And the electricity going back and forth. The K factor is the distance between the 2 plates.
Okay.
So depending on what you're testing and how much dissolved organics you have in there, the conductivity changes.
Okay.
So other controllers out there use conductivity probes that are K factor 1, which is meant for fresh water.
Okay.
While we actually use a conductivity probe that is a K factor of 10, which is specifically made for salt water.
Okay.
So in addition to isolating the probe, stirring the water to get the bubbles out, you know, we also use what we think is a better probe that the manufacturer designed for salt water to give you even a better reading.
Okay.
So we're hoping that obviously it's not going to solve 100% of the problems, but it's going to increase the accuracy and minimize the problems.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Great.
So if you have the X10, in addition to that, let's go into the IV. The IV also facilitates alkalinity testing.
Right.
Okay, so you got, again, and we show you the picture or the video, you got a salinity probe, and also now you have a pH probe.
Yeah.
All right, so the pH probe allows the X10 or any high precision dosing pump. It doesn't have to be an X10. to pull water from the sump. You connect it to a reagent,
Right.
and then you drip water and you do titration. You're bringing down water by you're measuring alkalinity by bringing the pH down.
Right.
Kind of like the way the Cage G, the Cage Guardian, and the Alcatronic work.
Okay.
Right. The price of this IV, again, and I'm gonna make sure the IV does not do the testing. The
Yeah.
IV only facilitates it. The actual testing, the math, the computing is done by the brain.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Right.
So you don't have to have this
Yeah.
to test alkalinity.
Gotcha.
If you buy this, you can have it. And I know there's people out there, especially in Humble Fish, that they like to tinker with 3D printing.
Right.
You technically could print something like this yourself, make it a lot nicer,
Yeah.
and do it. It's up to you.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
But for those of us that are not as DIY inclined, we have to pay a little bit of a convenience fee.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, and we don't want to make it. So it's $129.
Okay.
It's the vessel with the glass
Right.
and the stir in here.
Okay.
And it connects directly to a dry pump.
Great.
But you could also, if you have high precision dosing pumps, like an FX STP,
Yeah.
you could technically do alkalinity testing with just an X4 or an X3.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
That's it. You don't have to because everything is on the app.
There's everything in there.
Now salinity, of course, you can't do it because they don't have salinity
Right.
points, so you need that.
Yeah.
But the whole point about hydros and what we wanted to do is wanted to give you the option. We wanted to give you the option in the software. We don't want to lock you. It's like we don't want to be that company that says, in order for you to test alkalinity, you have to have an X10.
Yeah.
No, we don't want it. If you spend money on a good high precision dosing pump and you're using it with an XP8 or you're using it with a dry port,
Right.
you should be able to take advantage of the software.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, the quality of the alkalinity testing is going to depend on the quality of your dosing pumps.
Right.
You know, so that's where the X10 comes in, a convenience thing. You could use the X10 pumps to do the alkalinity test, and it's going to give you a very high one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that is the X10. It's a full brain tube.
Yeah.
So full brain controller. It comes into the collective and
Right.
also is a power giver, which means that if my XP8 were to fail, who's powering everything else, this device here could also go backwards
over
and
all that.
power the brain. So even though my XP8 fell, my Control 4 with all the sensors, my
Right.
Control XD with all the things is still running.
Yeah. Okay.
It's still running.
Great.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Carlos.
You're very welcome.